Step off my porch, Veronica, unless you've got a real warrant, and don't bother smiling at the camera. I'm saving all of this for your lawyer. Veronica Bexley, lips pursed and clipboard clutched like a shield, doesn't flinch. She tries to square her shoulders. You're in violation, again. That swing is an unapproved structure, and your son's truck. I cut her off. That motion sensor above your head, still connected to my server. Your last 2 late-night visits, got the footage, with timestamps. Veronica's eyes flick up just for a second, caught. Name's Maya Jensen. Willow Oaks has always been my family's ground. My dad poured the slab out back with his own hands. I buried his old dog under the pecan tree, the same tree he used to hang our porch swing from. I'm not the type to let strangers, especially the ones wearing HOA badges, decide what counts as home. I've got 20 years of cybersecurity work behind me, and I don't scare easy. Let's get this straight. This house, it's not just property, it's legacy. Every creak in the floorboards means something. My son Eli feels it too, especially now. Quick interjection. Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments, and if you know how HOA rules can mess with your peace, you'll want to stick around. Back to Veronica, trying not to sweat through her pastel blazer. You're recording me? She scoffs, but there's a twitch in her voice. Of course. Don't worry, it's perfectly legal. Public official, public interest, public sidewalk. You want to come at my family, you better bring more than a citation for a squeaky swing. Behind her, Trevor Banks idles in his mud-splattered SUV, pretending to check his phone. I see Linda Fox, the secretary, just behind him, arms folded, eyes darting to the ground, almost like she's wishing herself invisible. I turn, eyes landing on the porch swing. The slats are sun-bleached, the ropes thick with years. My dad made it from old barnwood before cancer took him. He used to say, Maya, always keep a lookout. There's nothing braver than keeping what's yours. I lost him 3 years ago, but I haven't let go of the house, or the memories. Eli comes out, dropping his backpack by the door, scowl etched deep. They here again? Yeah, buddy. He doesn't bother hiding the bite in his words. Are they gonna fine us for breathing too? Veronica glares at him. Respect, young man. Eli shrugs. You get respect when you earn it. He's 16 and already knows more about networks than most of the neighborhood's IT guys. Last month he caught Trevor poking around the side gate at 2 in the morning. Didn't confront him. Just tagged the footage, labeled, archived. Linda shifts, uneasy. The folder in her arms is trembling, just slightly. Everything's by the book, she mumbles. I almost want to ask her what she really thinks, but not yet. People like Linda don't speak up until the pressure's high enough to crack stone. Veronica starts ticking off violations. The mailbox is the wrong color. My trash bins are visible from the curb. The porch swing's a liability. I smile. You know what's a liability? Trespassing. She snaps the folder shut. Expect a formal notice. Again. Her heels click down the steps. Trevor follows, finally looking up. He tries to stare me down, but I don't budge. Eli leans against the porch rail, quiet. I can tell he's holding back questions. About Grandpa, about why people with too much power always go after the little things. He finally says Grandpa would have told him off in 5 words. Hell would've, I reply, but we've got more tools than he did. The sun catches on the swing, turning the old pecan tree's shadow gold. For a second, I swear I see Dad's boots on the steps, hear his laugh drifting from the yard. This is more than a house. It's the last real piece of him I have left. The swing, the tree, even the worn patch of grass Eli runs across. They're ours, no matter what the board says. And if they want to make it a fight, I know how to play chess too. By the time Veronica's heels vanish past the curb, the air on our porch feels thin, like something important just left, or maybe something heavier just settled in its place. Eli disappears inside, slamming the door with the sort of force that says he's sick of being polite. I get it. Some days this house feels less like a home and more like a chessboard, every square already occupied by someone else's rule. There's no time to stew. An hour after the confrontation, an email pings. Subject line, formal citations. Urgent. 5 violations, all stamped and signed. I scroll. Mailbox hardware, non-standard bolt. Porch swing, unauthorized structure. Trash bins, visible past sundown. Unmowed strip along the sidewalk, and, pettiest of all, mail slot orientation in violation of Section 7B. My father's mailbox, hand-welded, has survived hurricanes and hail. Apparently it won't survive Veronica's clipboard. Eli pops his head in, hair sticking up, face flushed. "Mom, they called the school." I spin around. "What?" He shrugs, biting his lip. "Said I was leaving tire marks on the curb. The principal wanted to know if everything's okay at home." I nearly laugh, but it's not funny. It's humiliating. The HOA's reach doesn't stop at property lines. It crawls into your daily life, shadowy and persistent. It's dinner before I can sit down and breathe. Eli barely touches his plate. I ask about school. He shrugs. Kinda hard to care about algebra when the HOA's stalking us. He pokes at his food, then looks at me. Really looks. Why do they hate us? I try to answer honestly. They don't hate us, they just want control. And some people, they don't like when someone stands up and says no. He sighs, rubbing his eyes. You ever wish we could just move? I shake my head, gently. Wouldn't matter. Folks like this are everywhere. This is Grandpa's house. We're not giving it up because someone with a fancy title wants to flex. After dinner, I print the citations and stack them beside the folder I keep for board nonsense. The pile's thicker than the Sunday newspaper. A chill creeps in when I realize this isn't about rules. It's about making us uncomfortable enough to leave. Later, I catch sight of Linda Fox across the street. She's locking her car, her shoulders hunched, a stack of HOA folders clutched to her chest. Our eyes meet for a half second. She nods, almost apologetically, before scurrying inside. Even from a distance, I catch the tension. The way she glances over her shoulder, the hurried steps. It's like she's as trapped as we are, only quieter about it. I try to unwind on the porch swing, but it's impossible. The wood creaks beneath me, a familiar sound, yet tonight it grates. I remember my dad sanding these planks, teaching me how to spot a knot before it could splinter a palm. He was patient, but never passive. Maya, you fix what's broken. You don't just complain about it. I finger the edges of an old faded photo in my pocket. Dad, holding Eli on this very swing, both of them grinning under the pecan's shade. It's the kind of memory that burns. I tuck the picture away. Maybe it's time to fix what's broken here, too. The next morning, the neighborhood's group chat lights up. New compliance sweep. Anyone else getting cited for garden gnomes? Veronica is methodical, and her reach is growing. The chat bubbles up with half jokes and full-on complaints. Someone named Mrs. Patel mentions the bin patrol, and a new neighbor admits her door wreath was confiscated. Eli mutters, "If they're this bored, I'll give them something to watch." I paused. "Don't poke the bear?" He smirks. "Just saying, I could spoof their security cameras for fun." I sigh, but a reluctant smile tugs at my lips. Maybe we'll need those skills soon. I check the mailbox again. Another envelope. This one isn't official, just my name, no return address. Inside, a printout of our property deed with certain lines highlighted in neon yellow. Scribbled at the bottom, almost hesitant, "Know your rights." No signature. It's not proof, but it's something. Maybe not everyone in Willow Oaks likes what the HOA's doing. Maybe, just maybe, someone's ready to push back too. By Thursday morning, the air in Willow Oaks feels charged. I'm on the porch with a mug of lukewarm coffee, sorting through paperwork, when Eli bursts outside, eyes narrowed, jaw set. Maybe I just put a sticker on my windshield, said my parking's obstructing the community aesthetic. I arch a brow, let me guess, bright orange? He huffs, holding up the offending neon label. It was stuck right where it'll leave glue. I checked the footage. Trevor did it. Didn't even bother looking around. He kicks at the steps, frustration practically radiating. I reach for calm, but it's a losing battle. Don't let them see you mad. It's what they want. He shakes his head, voice cracking. Why are we the only ones they pick on? Patel's son parks on the curb, nothing happens. I don't answer right away. Instead, I watch the morning unfold. Veronica marching from yard to yard, clipboard bobbing. Trevor's SUV crawling down the block like a shark, and Linda Fox tailing behind, arms full of files. She's moving slower than usual, eyes barely meeting anyone's. Eli and I decide it's time to show a little backbone. Not war, yet. Just a statement. He washes his truck, parks it perfectly within the lines, and snaps photos with a timestamp. We staple copies to our next HOA response. I email the board. For your records, no violations found. Please clarify your ongoing interest in our property. Mid-afternoon, there's a knock. Not the polite kind. It's a series of heavy raps, and when I open the door, Linda's standing there. Alone. She's gripping a thick envelope, knuckles white. "Hi, Ms. Jensen," she says, voice just above a whisper. I need your signature for receipt of this." I glance down, more notices, more fines, but Linda doesn't meet my eye. Instead, her gaze flicks to the living room, the swing visible through the window, Eli's truck parked outside. Her hands tremble as she hands me the envelope. We stand in awkward silence, a tension that wants to break but can't. I sign, and as she turns to leave, I notice something. Her lips, moving, barely a breath. "I'm sorry." She doesn't wait for a reply, practically fleeing the porch. The door closes behind her, but the apology echoes. Eli's peeking from the hallway, arms folded. She looks scared. "Maybe she should be," I mutter. But the truth is, Linda's not a villain. She's trapped, same as us, only deeper in the maze. That evening, the neighborhood group chat starts buzzing again. Someone caught Trevor measuring garden gnomes with a ruler. "Is he for real?" Eli snorts, reading over my shoulder. "He's a stickler for details," I reply, dry. Maybe he should work for NASA. I spend an hour cataloging every citation, every incident, every blurry photo. Patterns start to emerge. Dates line up with board meetings. Citations spike after I challenge fines. There's method here, not just madness. Around dusk, I spot Linda again. She's outside, fumbling for her keys. Veronica storms up to her, voice low but sharp. I can't hear the words, but I see the aftermath. Linda stiffening, shoulders curling in. She glances toward our house, eyes flicking away when she notices me watching. Inside, Eli pulls out the deed printout from yesterday's mystery envelope. He's circling the highlighted lines. "This means we control the easement, right? Like, legally?" I nodded. "Looks that way. Whoever sent this knows what they're doing, or they want us to." Eli grins. "Guess Grandpa taught us how to find allies in weird places." The porch swing creaks as I settle in after dinner. I close my eyes, let the breeze rattle the pecan branches. Dad's words come back, slow and sure. Sometimes standing your ground is enough to make the bullies blink. Tonight I believe it, even with the odds stacked. We're not alone, not really. Ever had a neighbor or a board member cross the line and make your home feel less like your own? Drop your story, or just where you're tuning in from, in the comments. If you think standing your ground matters, stick around, because things in Willow Oaks are about to get even messier. That night I hardly sleep. The wind keeps rattling the windows, or maybe it's just my nerves. I keep thinking about Linda's apology, the highlighted deed, the relentless march of citations. There's a pattern, and I know if I can just see it clear enough, I'll find the crack in their armor. By morning, I'm running on caffeine and spite. The porch swing's already taken a fresh hit. Someone's left muddy boot prints right under the ropes, like a quiet warning. The neighborhood's waking up slow, but trouble's always up before dawn around here. I walk Eli to his truck. He double-checks the parking lines with a carpenter's level and snaps a photo for good measure. His routines become almost ritual, every move tight with annoyance. "You all right?" I ask, watching him stuff his camera back in his bag. He shrugs, glancing at the house. "They're not going to quit, are they?" "No," I say, keeping my voice steady, "but neither are we." Halfway through my morning coffee, the phone rings. It's Mrs. Patel, her voice taut. "Maya, did you hear? Veronica wants a random compliance inspection today. Whole board's coming." My stomach drops. An inspection is just code for snooping. Digging through every inch of your property, hoping you'll slip up. "Thanks for the heads up," I tell her, my mind already running through every possible infraction they could dream up. Veronica shows up an hour later, flanked by Trevor and, reluctantly, Linda. Linda's doing her best to become invisible behind a manila folder, but Trevor's enjoying himself, smirking at every potted plant. Veronica doesn't bother with pleasantries. "We'll be thorough, Ms. Jensen. The board reserves the right to access exterior property under Article 4. Article 4 says you need 24 hours notice and a legitimate complaint. I shoot back. Trevor waves a clipboard in my face. This is your notice. We have complaints from multiple neighbors. Funny, every neighbor seems to have Trevor's handwriting. Eli hovers just inside, filming everything with his phone, just in case. I keep my cool, narrating each step for the record. That's the herb garden. It's within the approved height, no visible trash bins, per your last letter. Veronica makes a note. Linda's hands shake as she writes, and once she drops her pen, when she bends to pick it up, I notice a purple bruise on her wrist. I bite my tongue, but the urge to ask is strong. They pick through everything, even the garage. Trevor peeks inside a stack of old boxes, noses through Dad's battered toolbox. He grins like he's found contraband, holding up a cracked extension cord. Unsafe. That'll be another citation. It's not plugged in, I reply, deadpan, but I'll be sure to keep it locked up from now on, lest it turn criminal. Linda snorts, a sound so quick I almost miss it, then coughs to cover. After 30 minutes of inspection, they leave behind 3 new citations. Veronica gives me her best rehearsed smile. You'll have 72 hours to comply or we'll escalate. The words hang in the air long after she's gone. Eli mutters, escalate to what, exactly? Do they think we're scared? I shake my head. I am tired, bone tired, but I won't let them see that. They want us rattled. Let them see we're still standing. Once the dust settles, Mrs. Patel appears on the porch, hands stuffed in her sweater. You handled that better than I would have, she says quietly. If you need witnesses, you know where to find me. I thank her, and something loosens in my chest. Maybe we're not the only ones who've had enough. That night, as Eli finishes homework at the kitchen table, I start a spreadsheet. Dates, violations, names, every petty move the board's made. It's time to stop reacting and start preparing. And out on the porch, under the pecan tree, the swing sways just a little in the dark, like my father's hand is still pushing us forward. After the spreadsheet's finished and the house quiets, I still can't sleep. Every time the wind creaks a shutter, I imagine another set of HOA eyes peeking in. But what really sticks is the bruised look on Linda's wrist, the way her laughter slipped out before she smothered it. Something's off, and I can't let it go. Rain spits against the windows that night, one of those storms that makes the old house hum. Power flickers, and I get up, heart pounding a little too fast. I find Eli already at the breaker box in the basement, flashlight in hand, his phone chiming with motion alerts. False positives, he says, but he's not convincing either of us. I kneel beside him, hands searching the shelf for extra batteries. My fingers brush something odd behind a paint can. A battered shoebox I haven't seen in years. The cardboard is water-warped and smells of cedar, the sort of thing my dad would have tucked away for just in case. Eli raises an eyebrow. What's that? Inside the box, beneath a stack of faded receipts and a cracked key fob, there's a folder. Handwritten on the tab in Dad's blocky script. Private, Westward, HOA. My pulse stutters. I open it, careful as a bomb tech. Pages of old letters, some from before I bought the house, spill out. Ho-ho warnings, old neighbor complaints, minutes from board meetings nearly a decade old. And something else, a list of what looks like codes, combinations, addresses. Eli clicks his tongue, shining his light over the yellowed paper. Check this. Look, see the names? That's Trevor. There's Veronica. Even A.L. Fox. My mind races. Dad used to say the board kept secrets, but this... At the bottom, scrawled almost carelessly, a line stands out. Master Key Protocol, see Linda 2018. Eli's mouth falls open. You think she knows about the break-ins? Before I can answer, a light flickers upstairs. We freeze, listening. Just the wind and the gutters. Still, I feel watched. I dig deeper in the box, find a half-torn photograph. Dad, years younger, standing in front of the house with a neighbor I barely remember, the pecan tree nothing but a sapling. On the back, just 2 words, trust her. The basement air is musty, full of old paint and something sharper. Maybe it's just fear. Eli snaps photos of the papers with his phone, hands shaking. We should show Linda, he whispers. If she's in the middle of this, she might flip. Before we head upstairs, I hear a creak above. Eli and I both freeze, but after a beat, the only sound is the steady tick of the old water heater. I tuck the folder under my arm. Let's get some sleep, we've got more to work with now. Eli nods, but his eyes linger on the box. Upstairs, the house feels different, almost alive. The swing outside taps the railing in the wind, a reminder that Dad's presence lingers, even when everything else feels uncertain. The next morning brings fog and a low-hanging dread. I scan the yard, fresh footprints in the mud by the side gate, bigger than Eli's sneakers. I snap a photo, email it to myself for the log. Eli sets the folder on the kitchen table, flipping through each page with a methodical focus that surprises me. "We need to talk to Linda," he says, "but not here." Later, Mrs. Patel waves me over while collecting her mail. She lowers her voice, glancing around. "You hear noises last night?" My motion light kept going off, and I swear I saw Trevor's SUV turn the corner 3 times. I tell her, quietly, that she's not imagining things. "You ever get a master key notice from the board?" She frowns. "Never. But a few years ago Linda changed the locks. For me. She was careful. Nervous, maybe." The wheels are turning. All at once I realize there's more to Linda's silence than fear. Maybe she's trapped too, but holding a key of her own. That night, I email myself copies of everything we found and hide the originals back in the box, just in case. Dad always said, never leave all your eggs in one basket, especially when snakes are around. By dawn, I'm out on the porch with my coffee, fog curling around the swing. The rope's still damp from last night's rain, and for a second, I just let myself sway, the memory of Dad's laugh echoing in my head. It's almost peaceful. Until Eli stumbles out, hair a mess, folder hugged tight. "Did you get any sleep?" I ask, knowing the answer. He grins, sheepish. "Did you?" We're both too wired for rest. The secrets in that folder have rewired our nerves. I run my thumb along the armrest, an old knot where Dad carved a tiny M when I was 6. All that time, this swing's been more than wood and rope. It's been the center of every family story, every bit of comfort and warning. Eli plunks down beside me. "We should talk to Linda. Quiet, where no cameras hit." I nod. School lets out at 3. She leaves the office by 3:15. Patel's side yard is shielded from the street. Let's try there. He's already thinking 3 steps ahead. I'm proud, but I hate that he's learned to be suspicious so young. Around 10, a knock rattles the kitchen door. I tense, expecting Veronica's shark smile, but it's just Mrs. Patel, her hands wrapped around a thermos. She steps inside, glancing at the cluttered kitchen table. "You two look like you spent the night plotting a heist." Eli laughs. "Sorta. You know Linda Fox?" Mrs. Patel's eyes flicker, an understanding passing between women who've both learned to read trouble. She keeps to herself, but she's kind. My guess? She's trapped by the board more than you know. I motion for Eli to bring out the folder, but Mrs. Patel shakes her head. "No need. Just be careful, the board's got eyes everywhere. Cameras in odd places. Ask Linda about the attic, not the shed." She pours 2 cups of tea, the gesture grounding. Eli whispers attic, and I nod, tucking it away. Afternoon rolls in, humid and restless. At 3:15 sharp, we cross to Patel's yard, keeping our heads down. Linda emerges, sunglasses on, purse gripped tight. She spots us and falters mid-step. "Miss Jensen?" Her voice is barely audible. I gesture her over. "We found something. I think you should see it." She looks torn, glancing at the street, biting her lip. Finally, she slips behind the privacy hedge with us, hands shaking as I show her the master key notes and Dad's old folder. For a long minute, Linda just stares. When she finally speaks, her voice quivers. "I never wanted any of this. The master key protocol was supposed to be for emergencies, gas leaks, medical calls. Then Trevor? He started using it for other things. Veronica covered for him. When I protested, they threatened my job. Said they'd find something in my taxes." Eli blurts, "Were you in the house last week?" Linda's cheeks flushed. "No, but I heard about it. Trevor bragged in the meeting that nobody locks up tight enough." I catch her gaze, try to soften my voice. "Mrs. Patel said to ask about the attic." Linda's lips press thin. "There's a box up there. Old minutes, keys, complaint letters they never filed. They keep it hidden in the eaves. Nobody checks, nobody questions." She glances down at my swing, her voice thick. "I'm sorry, Maya, for everything." If you go up there, be careful. Don't trust Trevor. She slips away before we can say thank you. Eli's eyes are wide. We're really doing this? Looks like it, I say, squeezing his shoulder. The fear's still there, but now it's balanced by something else. Hope maybe, or resolve. That night, I linger on the porch. The swing creaks and the rope's rough under my palm. Dad's knot, still there, catches the porch light just so. Legacy's not always quiet or clean. Sometimes it's standing up and digging through the dust, no matter what you find. Ever had to dig deeper just to protect what matters? Maybe even uncover secrets in your own home? Drop a comment with your story, or just tell us where you're watching from. Stick around, 'cause we're not done fighting yet, and neither should you. By sunrise, I know there's no backing out. I tell Eli to grab the flashlight and that old bandana he likes to wear when he's nervous. He slips it on without a word. My heart's pounding, but I keep my voice even. We do this smart, slow, and safe. Got it? He nods, his phone set to record everything. He's been quiet all morning, but there's steel in his eyes. What if Trevor catches us up there? I put a hand on his shoulder. If Trevor shows up, you keep filming and get out fast. I'll handle the rest. I try to sound braver than I feel. Maybe I am. We time our move for noon when the board's always at lunch. The attic ladder groans under my weight. The air is thick with dust and old insulation, the kind of heat that crawls up your sleeves and never lets go. Eli shines the light into the far eaves and I follow the beam. Old boxes, Christmas lights, forgotten coats. The insulation crunches under my knees. There, see that? Eli points to a metal lockbox shoved deep behind a vent pipe. I crawl over, careful not to jostle the beams. The lock's cheap, but Eli hands me a bobby pin and grins, showing off what he learned from Grandpa. Told you I pay attention. A minute later, the lock pops. Inside, envelopes stuffed with complaint forms, faded photos, a ring of keys, and a thumb drive labeled simply HOA, private. There's even a signed letter from Veronica outlining emergency access procedures for the master key, including a list of which homes were entered and when. The handwriting's neat, deliberate. Each date lines up with one of our own random inspections. Eli whistles. They've been keeping records this whole time. Blackmail, maybe, or leverage. The attic floor creaks under our knees. I pause, listening. Nothing but the muffled hum of an AC unit and birds on the roof. My hands shake as I scan the papers. Photos of Trevor inside a neighbor's garage. Notes about Patel's house, Linda's name scrawled in the margins. It's all here. Eli snaps digital copies of everything. We show this to Linda? First, we make backups and get these somewhere safe. I tuck the thumb drive into my pocket, my fingers numb. Next step is a lawyer. Back in the kitchen, the relief almost bowls me over. I let Eli load files to an encrypted cloud account, a trick I picked up after a client's ugly data breach years ago. I text Mrs. Patel, need to talk, urgent. Minutes later, she's on our porch, her expression taut but hopeful. I show her the letter and the list of entries. Her address appears 3 times. Her hands flutter to her chest. They've been inside my house without me knowing? I nodded, and for the first time see a new fire in her eyes. They won't get away with this, not now. We loop in Linda by encrypted message, sending her a sample of what we found. She replies almost instantly. All help, but meet somewhere safe. They watch my phone. Eli and I exchanged a look. He's still nervous, but his smile is real. Feels like we're finally fighting back. That night, I lock up every door and window, set our own sensors. As I step out to the porch for air, the swing sways gently, ropes creaking, a sound that steadies me. The old knot Dad carved is worn smooth now. The porch light catches the grain, and for the first time in weeks, I feel like the house is rooting for us. We have evidence, we have allies, and if the HOA thinks they're the only ones who know how to play dirty, they're about to meet their match. The next morning, a current of energy pulses through our house, half anxiety, half adrenaline. I pace the kitchen, clutching my mug like it's the last piece of armor I've got. The folder, the thumb drive, and a USB backup are all packed in a worn lunchbox. Eli sits at the table, biting his lip, fingers tapping on his phone as he monitors the camera feeds and waits for Linda's message. Just before noon it comes. Linda, meet at Patel's garden. Don't bring your phones. I nudge Eli. Game on. We leave everything inside but the lunchbox, locking every door and window behind us. Mrs. Patel is already in her backyard, looking more determined than I've ever seen her. The old hydrangea bushes shield us from the street. Linda slips in last, hood up, glancing over her shoulder. She barely waits for us to sit before whispering, "You have it." I hand her the drive. She scrolls through the files on her old laptop, her jaw tightening. This is everything. Records, minutes, even a draft complaint to Homeland Security about unauthorized surveillance. Trevor and Veronica were supposed to delete it. Guess they never got around to it. Mrs. Patel's hand flies to her mouth. Homeland Security? Linda nods. Some of the entries, they cross legal lines, especially the surveillance stuff. Audio, not just video. I tried to flag it, but... She trails off. The weight of what she's carried is written all over her face. Eli looks up. If we go public, won't they just deny everything? Linda's voice steadies. They can try, but with chain of custody, timestamps, and me as a witness, they'll have a hard time explaining. I squeeze her arm, gratitude and anger tangled together. We're not going alone. I've got an attorney on call. We make this official, document the evidence, submit a formal complaint, and if they push back, the media gets it all. A neighbor's dog barks from 2 yards over, making us all jump. Linda winces, glancing at the fence. We can't drag this out. Trevor's been bragging about a clean sweep, deleting records, threatening anyone who talks. Tonight, I'll get what I can out of the HOA office. After that, I'm done being scared. Mrs. Patel's eyes shine. If they threaten you, you call me. I'll have half the block on the porch before Trevor can blink. There's a spark in the air, a charge, like thunder before a storm. Linda claps her laptop shut and passes it to me. Back up everything. If anything happens to me, make sure it gets out. Eli, voice trembling but fierce, pipes up. Can I set a trap, like a digital one? If Trevor tries to wipe the cameras, I can make sure we get every second of his face. Linda actually grins, weary but proud. Smart kid, do it. We head home, nerves jangling. I help Eli set up a hidden subdirectory. Any motion in the HOA office after hours gets auto-emailed to 3 off-site accounts. It's the kind of trick Dad would have appreciated. Clever, just risky enough to make you sweat. As dusk falls, I'm back on the porch swing, lunchbox on my lap. For the first time in weeks, I let myself lean into the memory. Dad's big hands steadying the ropes, telling me, never pick a fight you're not willing to finish. My heart aches, but it's a good ache. Later, Mrs. Patel texts, lights on at the office, be ready. I watch Eli set his phone beside the swing, both of us alert, waiting for the trap to snap shut. Whatever happens tonight, the balance of power in Willow Oaks is already shifting. This fight isn't just about fines and property lines anymore. It's about truth and neighbors and refusing to be bullied out of your own legacy. The night stretches on like elastic, every minute an eternity. Eli and I sit by the window, eyes flicking between our phones and the faint blue glow of the porch light. I can hear his knee bouncing, quick, nervous. Every few minutes I check my email, refresh, waiting for the trap we set to spring. Somewhere across the block, Mrs. Patel's porch light flashes once, then twice. Our silent signal. She's watching the HOA office, binoculars in hand, coffee cup steaming in the cool air. We're all in this together now. My phone vibrates, a motion alert. Eli's face goes tight. Here we go. He opens the feed, grainy video, shadows moving through the HOA office after hours. The timestamp reads 11:42 p.m. Trevor, unmistakable in his windbreaker, is stuffing papers into a satchel. Veronica's behind him, voice sharp, but we can't make out the words. Linda appears briefly at the edge of the frame, not looking at them, shoulders hunched as she files a stack of folders in a separate cabinet. Eli hits record and copies the file. We got him. A new motion alert pops up. Someone's at our side gate. My breath catches. Eli switches to the outside camera. Trevor's there. Fumbling with something near the lock, flashlight beam bouncing. The image shakes, but we catch his face clear as day. Eli whispers, "He's trying to break in." My heart hammers. I text Mrs. Patel, "Fast, Trevor at my gate, keep eyes out." Seconds later, her reply, "Got it, called non-emergency line, stay put." Eli grips my hand. "Do we call 911? I weigh it. Not yet. Let's see if he runs or pushes. The video shows Trevor jiggling the gate. He curses under his breath, glances at his phone, then disappears into the dark. A car door slams down the street. Our house holds its breath. The relief is sharp, almost dizzying. Eli leans back, finally letting go of my hand. Did you see Linda? She looked scared, but she's playing her part. I nod, watching as the feeds return to stillness. She's braver than she knows. We all are. We review the new footage, every incriminating second. I fire off copies to my attorney, the backup accounts, and Linda's encrypted email. By now, the evidence is everywhere and nowhere at once, impossible to erase. A text pings from Linda, simple and shaky. You have everything you need. They'll know by morning. Don't answer the door if they show up. I'll call you from a landline if it's safe. I want to reassure her, but my thumbs hover, unsure what words can do. Instead, I write, "We're with you, whatever happens next." Sleep doesn't come easy, but exhaustion finally wins. I wake at dawn to find Eli already up, cross-checking files, updating the timeline spreadsheet. He looks up, eyes red but alive. We've got them cornered, Mom. We're on the edge of something bigger than us, and I can feel the neighborhood shifting. People stepping onto their porches, curtains twitching, a sense that secrets are finally getting drug into the daylight. Mrs. Patel drops off muffins, her way of checking in. Any word? She asks, low. I shake my head, but soon. This is the last night we have to be scared. She squeezes my hand, firm and sure. You started something good, Maya. Don't let them make you small. I watch her walk back across the lawn, sun rising behind her, and know she's right. We're not hiding anymore. The pecan tree, swaying in the breeze, seems to stand taller too. Dad would have called this the turning point, the moment the tide really turns. Tonight we wait, tomorrow we make it public. Ever caught someone red-handed and wondered what would happen if you brought the truth to light? Share your boldest neighborhood story, or just let us know where you're watching from. Things are about to break wide open in Willow Oaks. Stick around, you won't want to miss what comes next. Morning breaks on Willow Oaks with a kind of restless hush, the air already buzzing even before the first mailbox lids bang shut. Word's gotten out. Neighbors step onto their porches, subtle and nosy, like birds watching a brewing storm. I can feel the anticipation, thick as dew. Even the swing out front seems to sway a little faster, as if it knows something's coming. Eli's glued to his laptop, a legal pad covered in timelines and bullet points beside him. Ever so often he mutters under his breath, checks the news, then taps out another encrypted message. Mom, your lawyer just replied. She says the footage is more than enough, plus the digital logs. She's filing for an emergency injunction and a cease and desist. My stomach flips, a weird mix of nerves and pride. Good, time to hit send. We draft a clean, plain language email. No threats, just facts. Attach the video, timestamps, Trevor's attempted break-in, and the log of every house illegally entered. I copy in our lawyer, Mrs. Patel, and just for good measure, the county's housing department. I pause before I hit send, catching Eli's eye. You ready? I ask. He grins, cheeks flushed. Ready to watch them scramble? The reply from the HOA comes almost instantly. Veronica's tone is all bluster and denial, paragraphs of unsubstantiated accusations and malicious intent. She CCs half the board and threatens immediate legal consequences if we continue defaming the HOA's reputation. Trevor, of course, adds a single line, "Careful what you wish for." I don't dignify it with a response. Instead, I hit forward, send the entire exchange to the attorney and the county rep. Next, I upload a sanitized summary of the events, just enough details to keep neighbors in the loop, on the Willow Oaks group chat. The response is instant, thumbs up, angry faces, question marks. One neighbor writes, "About time someone stood up to them." Another, "I have a video of Trevor in my garage too, want it?" Linda texts, "Board meeting 6 p.m. They'll be on edge. I'll bring backup." The house feels lighter as we pep our evidence. USB sticks, extra batteries, notes. Mrs. Patel drops by, pressed and polished, holding her own folder of complaints. She brings lemonade and a hug. "Don't let 'em talk over you. Speak slow, stay calm. They'll try to rattle you, but we're all watching." Eli, usually glued to his phone, helps me double-check the documents. "You think Veronica'll show up or hide?" I smirked. "She'll show up. Bullies don't hide until they've got nowhere left to stand." At 6 sharp, the HOA rec room is packed, neighbors pressed against the wall, some standing on tiptoe to see over the crowd. Linda's there, pale but steady, clipboard in hand. Veronica and Trevor look like they haven't slept. Trevor's eyes keep darting to the door. I take a slow breath, feel my hands start to sweat. Dad's voice is in my ear. "Go on, kid. Time to take back the porch." Linda calls the meeting to order, voice ringing out stronger than I've ever heard. "We have a motion on the floor, review of board conduct and member complaints." The whole room goes still. I stand, documents in hand. I'd like to address the board and the community. What we're about to share isn't just about me or my son. It's about every family here who's ever felt unsafe, unheard, or unwelcome in their own home, and I have the proof. I meet Veronica's glare head-on, holding up the flash drive. "You want to call my bluff? Let's let everyone see what's really been happening." All eyes are on us now. The reckoning we've waited for is finally here. Linda's voice quivers, but she holds steady at the podium. The boardroom is a pressure cooker, neighbors shoulder to shoulder, the air humming with expectation and nerves. Even Veronica looks smaller tonight, makeup cracking at the corners. Trevor bouncing his knees so hard it shakes the folding table. I glance at Eli, who gives a single, sure nod. He's become my anchor. The flash drive feels warm in my palm as I step up, every set of eyes in Willow Oaks glued to me. "First off, thank you for coming," I start, voice carrying through the thick air. "This isn't about revenge, it's about respect, for each other, for our homes, and for the truth." I click the USB into the laptop. Footage flickers on the projector. Trevor at my gate, clear as a bell. Flashlight cutting through the dark. Then video from the HOA office. Stacks of papers disappearing into satchels. Veronica's voice snapping in the background. There's a collective intake of breath. No one dares look away. Veronica tries to interject. This is out of context. But Linda, steadier now, interrupts. "I was there. This is exactly what happened, and it wasn't just the Jensens. There are logs here," she holds up the files, showing unauthorized entry into multiple homes. A wave of murmurs, anger, disbelief, a neighbor even gasps. "They were in my house?" Trevor shrinks, shoulders caving, but Veronica still tries to muster control. "You all know me," she pleads, scanning the faces for backup. "We only ever did what was necessary for the community. Maya's twisting things. She's got a history." I cut in, calmly. "History? My only history here is being targeted for protecting my home and my son. The board thought no one would notice, but you forgot. This community's smarter than you think." Mrs. Patel stands, hands shaking but voice fierce. "You threatened to fine me for garden gnomes while you were sneaking into my garage? This isn't safety, it's intimidation." Another neighbor pipes up, waving her phone. "You told me my windows weren't up to code, but I found Trevor in my backyard last spring. Thought I imagined it." A chorus builds, frustration, betrayal, outrage, years of silence bursting open all at once. Eli catches my eye, his relief plain. For once, the power in the room doesn't belong to the board. Linda lays it out. Secret recordings, meeting minutes, threats. I tried to stop it. I wanted to quit, but every time I pushed back, Veronica threatened my job and my reputation. I can't stay silent anymore. The lawyer, sitting quietly at the end of the table, speaks up. "I've filed the emergency injunction. The county is aware. Effective immediately, board access to homes is suspended, pending investigation." The words land like a thunderclap. Veronica slumps, face pale. Trevor buries his head in his hands. Across the room, neighbors embrace, clap, some cry. Old wounds finally named out loud. I find Linda in the crowd and squeeze her hand. "You did the right thing." She manages a shaky smile, tears catching in her lashes. "Guess I finally remembered who I wanted to be." Eli hugs me tight, his voice low. "Grandpa would be proud, Mom. He always said you can fix what's broken, if you're brave enough." I don't have the words, but I feel it. An unspoken current running through every person in that room. Tonight, we didn't just reclaim a house, we reclaimed our community. It's strange, the quiet that comes after a storm. The night the board crumbled, Eli and I got home to find a few neighbors waiting. Awkward, grateful, some still wary, but all there to shake hands, offer cookies, or just sit on the porch swing. Nobody spoke much at first. Sometimes you just need the silence to settle the dust. The next week is a whirlwind. The county sends investigators, papers are served, locks on the HOA office changed, Veronica disappears behind a lawyer's phone number, and Trevor is spotted loading boxes into his car before dawn. There's no big drama, just a hollow, anticlimactic retreat. Linda stays visible, determined, her steps lighter every day. She brings Eli a pie and slips me a card. Thank you for not giving up. Neighbors who'd kept their distance now wave in the street. Mrs. Patel organizes a block coffee. She laughs, tells Eli he's got a future in digital forensics. She brings her husband's old chessboard, dusts it off under the pecan tree. You're never too old to learn a new defense, she says, sliding a rook forward. Eli's never beaten her, but today, she lets him win. A week after the meeting, I finally have a day to breathe. I fix the porch swing, oil the hinges, replace a fraying rope. Eli comes out, backpack slung over one shoulder, holding the faded photo of Dad and me under this same tree. He tucks it into the knot Grandpa carved all those years ago. You miss him too? He asks, voice soft. Every day, I answer. The swing creaks, the pecan branches above us catching afternoon light. He'd be proud, not just because we fought back, but because we did it together, for each other. He nods, the sort of agreement you don't need words for. There's closure here, but something else. An opening. Legacy's like that. You don't just inherit it. You keep building, patching the cracks, sanding down splinters, leaving space for new laughter. Linda stops by, arms full of files for the interim board. She grins, offers to show Eli how to encrypt a USB drive, and lingers on the porch for lemonade. The conversation drifts. HOA elections, new bylaws, whether anyone will ever dare fine Mrs. Patel for her garden gnomes again. The community's not perfect, but it's finally ours. As dusk settles, Eli and I sit side by side on the swing, letting the quiet wrap around us. Porch lights flicker on up and down the block. Even the air feels lighter. Think of Dad, of everything we almost lost. I remember his advice, simple and sharp. Don't let anyone decide what home means to you. Make them see it's worth defending. For once, I believe it's true. The fight wasn't about winning. It was about dignity, about justice, about refusing to be small. And I know we're not the only ones who need to hear that. Home isn't just a house, I say aloud, half to Eli, half to the night. It's the people who fight for you and the memories you protect. And sometimes it's the courage to stand your ground when nobody else will. Now I want to hear from you. Ever had to defend your home, your peace, or your dignity against a board, a neighbor, or anyone who thought they could push you around? Drop your story in the comments or just let us know where you're tuning in from. You're not alone, and you don't have to fight alone either.